The word fortune is often misunderstood. Most people think it begins with luck, with chance, with being in the right place at the right time. They point to the successful and say, he was lucky, she was born with advantage. They had connections, opportunities, timing. But luck is a myth, a story told by the undisciplined to excuse their own inaction. The true foundation of fortune is far less glamorous, far less mysterious, but infinitely more powerful. Discipline. Discipline is the architect of empires. Discipline is the hidden partner of wealth, the silent force behind every invention, every breakthrough, every legacy carved into the stone of history. Discipline is the one currency that multiplies all others, and those who learn to master it inevitably turn discipline into fortune. Think of Thomas Edison. Thousands of experiments, thousands of failures, thousands of nights staring at broken glass and burnt filaments. He could have quit after 10 attempts. He could have quit after 100. But discipline chained him to persistence, and persistence led to the light bulb that illuminated the modern world. Think of Henry Ford. Factories ridiculed his dream of a car for the masses. They said it was impossible. They said it was foolish. But discipline kept him refining, experimenting, and building until the Model T rolled onto the streets and forever altered the way humanity moved. Think of Oprah Winfrey. Rejected, doubted, told she didn't belong in television. Yet discipline drove her to sharpen her craft, to outwork every barrier, until her voice commanded the attention of millions. These lives prove one thing: fortune is never an accident. It is discipline, sustained and sharpened, multiplied through time, that creates outcomes so massive the world labels them luck. But what is discipline truly? It is not punishment. It is not rigidness. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. It is the daily decision to choose your future over your impulses. It is the strength to act not according to how you feel in the moment, but according to who you've decided you will become. Think of Oprah Winfrey. Rejected, doubted, told she didn't belong in television. Yet discipline drove her to sharpen her craft, to outwork every barrier, until her voice commanded the attention of millions. These lives prove one thing: fortune is never an accident. It is discipline, sustained and sharpened, multiplied through time, that creates outcomes so massive the world labels them luck. But what is discipline, truly? It is not punishment. It is not rigidness. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. It is the daily decision to choose your future over your impulses. It is the strength to act not according to how you feel in the moment, but according to who you've decided you will become. Discipline says, I will rise when the sun rises, not when my body demands more sleep. I will finish the work I promised myself, not when it's easy, but when it's complete. I will hold myself to a higher standard, even if no one is watching. This is discipline, and discipline, repeated, compounds into fortune. The first law of discipline is mastery of time. Every person on earth is given 24 hours a day. Kings and beggars, billionaires and the bankrupt, geniuses and fools. Time is the one equal currency. But what separates them is discipline. The undisciplined treat time like a leaking pocket. They allow hours to drain away into distraction, entertainment, procrastination. They kill time, and in doing so, they kill fortune. The disciplined treat time as sacred. They guard it. They invest it. They multiply it. They understand that each wasted hour is an invisible debt, and each disciplined hour is an invisible fortune. Carnegie, Rockefeller, Jobs, Musk, none of them had more hours than you, but they commanded their hours with such intensity that each one was worth more than gold. Discipline in time turns minutes into progress, progress into achievement, achievement into wealth. The second law of discipline is mastery of focus. The mind is a tool sharper than steel, more powerful than fire, capable of reshaping the world itself. But unfocused, it scatters its energy into 1,000 useless sparks. Discipline is the act of focusing that energy into a single flame so hot, so intense, it forges results that change reality. Edison did not chase a dozen inventions at once. He obsessed over the one that would bring light. Disney did not scatter himself across hundreds of ideas. He obsessed over building a world where imagination reigned. The disciplined choose a mountain and climb it. The undisciplined wander from hill to hill, never reaching the summit of any. Fortune does not reward those who dabble. It rewards those who focus with disciplined obsession until the world cannot ignore them. The third law of discipline is mastery of habit. Your future is not shaped by grand moments. It is carved by the small decisions you repeat every day. Discipline is the architect of habit, and habit is the engine of fortune. Wake up at the same hour with purpose. Dedicate time to learning, even when you are tired. Push your body into strength, even when comfort tempts you. Invest money with discipline, even when spending feels easier. One habit may seem small, but compounded over years, habits build fortunes so vast they seem impossible to the undisciplined. Benjamin Franklin wrote, "Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise." He understood that wealth is not a lottery. It is a pattern, and discipline writes the pattern. The fourth law of discipline is mastery of resilience. For no matter how sharp your focus, no matter how strong your habits, life will strike you. You will face rejection. You will face failure. You will face seasons where effort brings no reward. The undisciplined crumble. They see one closed door and stop knocking. They see one failed attempt and call it fate. They see one setback and build excuses. But the disciplined rise again. They see failure not as an ending, but as training. They see rejection not as a verdict, but as feedback. They see the storm not as destruction, but as preparation. Discipline is the voice that says, "Yes, I have fallen, but I will rise again and again until fortune has no choice but to surrender." Every great fortune in history is paved with failure. What separates the remembered from the forgotten is discipline in the face of defeat. The fifth law of discipline is mastery of sacrifice. Fortune requires trade. You cannot have everything at once. To rise to greatness, you must surrender something lesser. The undisciplined want comfort now and success later. They want ease today and wealth tomorrow. They refuse to sacrifice, and so they gain nothing. The disciplined understand that every sacrifice is an investment. They sacrifice sleep to build their dream. They sacrifice entertainment to sharpen their skill. They sacrifice approval to follow their vision. And in time, their sacrifices become fortunes the undisciplined could never imagine. Think of every legend you admire. Behind their fortune lies a graveyard of comforts they willingly buried. For greatness demands sacrifice, and discipline is the shovel. But perhaps the most powerful law of discipline is this: discipline compounds. One act of discipline seems small. One day of work seems insignificant. But discipline, repeated, builds momentum, and momentum builds fortune. Imagine a wheel. At first, it takes massive effort to move it even an inch. This is the beginning of discipline. It feels heavy, slow, thankless. But push again, and again, and again. Each day, the wheel moves farther. Each day, the effort compounds. Until one day, the wheel is moving with such force, it can no longer be stopped. This is how fortunes are built, not through one great act, but through countless small acts of discipline, compounding until they erupt into visible success. So let us strip away the illusions. Fortune is not chance. Fortune is not lottery. Fortune is not privilege alone. Fortune is discipline multiplied by time. Fortune is focus sharpened into action. Fortune is habit, resilience, sacrifice, and compounding persistence. And this is why so few rise. Because discipline is difficult. It demands what most refuse to give, daily control of the self. But here is the truth. Discipline is available to everyone. It requires no diploma, no inheritance, no special birth. It requires only the decision to rule yourself instead of being ruled by impulse. Every legend you admire began as ordinary. What made them extraordinary was discipline. So the question is not, can you? The question is, will you? Will you command your time or waste it? Will you master your focus or scatter it? Will you forge habits or surrender to impulses? Will you rise after defeat or lay down in excuses? Will you sacrifice comfort or sacrifice your dream? Because your fortune is waiting, not as luck, not as chance, but as the inevitable reward of discipline. Turn discipline into fortune, and you will discover what the greats have always known, that the world does not reward the wishful, but the disciplined, that fortune is not a miracle, but a law, and that the wealth you desire, the success you seek, the legacy you dream of, all of it lies one decision away. The decision to be disciplined, the decision to rise, the decision to command yourself. For discipline is the doorway, and on the other side is fortune.